Radhe Radhe. On behalf of JK Yog, we would like to welcome you all to International Gita Festival 2022. The International Gita Festival is a virtual event organized by JK Yog under the Har Ghar Gita campaign by conducting varieties of contests for all age groups to participate in this wonderful event. You may all register for this contest on our website at www.jkyog.org/Gita Festival. The primary focus of the Har Ghar Gita campaign is to spread the message of the Bhagavad Gita to every home around the globe, thereby helping them to lead a purposeful life. We welcome all our viewers to participate in this campaign by pledging or donating any number of our Gita books towards this noble cause. We would like to take this opportunity to thank our sponsor, Mr. Madhu Reddy ji, for generously supporting us and offering a matching contribution towards our Har Ghar Gita campaign. The Bhagavad Gita is a sacred scripture containing invaluable sermon of Lord Krishna proffered to Arjuna in the battle of Mahabharata. Throughout the centuries, India's greatest philosophers and spiritualists have praised this immortal nectar of the Bhagavad Gita as the essence of eternal Vedic wisdom. To share my own experience, after reading Swamiji's commentary on the Gita, where every shlok is so beautifully explained with practical examples, has definitely made me a more calmer person. Starting with the introduction page, Swamiji has so beautifully explained the true meaning of surrender or Sharanagati, the concept of ascending and descending order, practiced in ancient times, has made me realize what a great culture and tradition I belong to. Heartfelt gratitude to Swamiji for bringing this book to all of us. It's indeed a true gift to mankind. Today, we are delighted to introduce you all to a wonderful conversation between Swami Mukundanand ji and Shweta Rohira. In this conversation, Swamiji will be sharing his insights into how the younger generation can actively apply the teachings of the Gita in their busy lifestyle. Swami Mukundananda is a world-renowned spiritual teacher from India. He is the founder of the yogic system called Jagadguru Kripaluji Yog, widely known as JK Yog. Swamiji is a unique sannyasi who has a distinguished technical and management background from highly acclaimed Indian institutions like IIT and IIM, which complements his profound spiritual knowledge. Swamiji has dedicated his time in serving people around the world, inspiring them to lead healthier, happier, and more fulfilling lives. Despite his hectic schedule, he has authored several books such as The Art of Mind Management, 7 Mindsets for Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment, The Science of Mind Management, and the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, to name a few, which were listed among the bestsellers. Swamiji's lectures are humorous, his arguments are logical and well laid out, and most of all, his advice is very practical. His lectures are much sought after and include various topics such as art of mind management, good health through yoga, meditation, and spirituality, developing our relationship with God, Bhagavad Gita for everyday living, and Patanjali Yoga Sutras, just to name a few. His august presence radiates love for the divine and for all souls who approach him for guidance. I feel honored to welcome him to our International Gita Festival 2022. Shweta Rohira is an artist, actor, influencer, and writer. Amongst her many art and film projects, she hosts a segment on Instagram called Chitter Chatter, where she interviews and holds conversation with writers, filmmakers, actors, and thinkers about their work. She has built an audience of young viewers on the social media and is wonderfully able to engage with their perspective. There is a beautiful saying, the past is history, future a mystery, and today is a gift. That is why it is called the present. Today's conversation will take up the theme, living one day at a time. On that note, on behalf of the International Gita Festival, I would like to warmly welcome Swami Mukundananda ji and Shweta Rohira. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much for this lovely introduction, and thank you, Swamiji, for having me here so that I could have a chit chat with you. And thank you once again for writing this book, because this book has got so much new verses and everything back in a renowned form for us. Like I said, like a renovated form, so that we young adults can read it and we feel that, let's get on this path now only. Let's not wait for a little longer time. So thank you once again for writing this book.
Oh, Shweta, the pleasure is all mine. So happy to join you on this program. And I'm delighted to hear the response of the youth towards this commentary of the Bhagavad Gita.
So, Swamiji, how can this book help one practice the mantra of living one day at a time?
One day at a time. We are always living for goals, and goals are in the future, while life is passing by in the present. So, if our whole endeavor is to have a wonderful goal, but the journey is boring and dry, then imagine how much of a labor life becomes. So, the way to live life is not for the future. It's not the destination which is as important as the journey itself. So, in order to make the journey pleasant, it is always best to focus on the present moment. The future, when it is lived, will be in the present. And the past, when it was existing, was also in the present. So the real thing in our hands is the present moment. Unfortunately, we dissipate our relish of it either by lamenting about the past, or by worries about the future, or tension about the present. So, if we can release those worries, release those fears, and the present apprehensions, we will start enjoying our life from day to day.
Wow, Swamiji, thank you for this lovely thought. Also, I would like to ask you, how can children and young adults develop a habit of reading Bhagavad Gita and make it a habit, a part of their daily life?
Yes, Shweta, all of us need wisdom to truly live life to our highest potential. There are situations where we need to make decisions, ethical decisions, moral decisions. In this situation, what is the alternative I must choose? What should be my priorities in this complicated circumstance? What should I define as the purpose of my life? So, the need for divine wisdom is tremendous. Once we decide that it is important for me, then we can inculcate it in our daily schedule. The benefit of it is that it's like illumining the intellect. Every day we bathe ourselves, every day we feed our body, realizing its necessity. But we don't realize that the intellect also needs to be bathed. And the most wonderful way to bathe it is the Bhagavad Gita. I am reminded of a statement by Henry David Thoreau, who was the Age of Enlightenment philosopher from America, the 18th century. He said, I daily bathe my intellect in the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. It is as if an empire speaks to me. So, coming to your question, there are two ways to do it. The first is that we could just systematically go from the first verse to the second, to the third, to the fourth. Naturally, that would take us to greater depths of it. However, if we wish to be casual readers, that is also fine. An ocean of nectar is sweet no matter where you taste it. So I know many people who just open the Gita every day. What is the verse for me today? And that one verse provides them with the wisdom for the day. They feel refreshed, rejuvenated, and invigorated. So we can try out both of these and see which works best for us.
Like you said, it's an ocean of nectar. So whatever works, make it work. But make it work for you. Develop a habit. You've given them two options. And yeah,
Yes,
what better than starting a day with seeing what is the verse that works best for me? Because nothing like a good morning. And if your morning is set, the day is automatically set.
that's right.
So in today's time, Swamiji, with COVID and its variants, there are so many uncertainties around. And any particular verse or yoke that one can read to remain calm, while they're facing these uncertainties today?
Yes, Shweta, actually, all of us feel comfortable and happy when we perceive that our life is in our own control, when we are able to control the circumstances, our relationships, the parameters of our profession, of our health. And when the perception comes that control is not in my hands, that is when stress starts developing. So, unfortunately, most of life is not in our control. Nobody desired the pandemic to come, but we are victims of it. We did not want the
Yes.
second wave to come, and then the third wave, and we realized that it's not within our hands. So, the way to handle the situation is again to focus on doing our best in the present moment. Let me give you an example. A deer was expecting on the verge of delivery. It found a good spot in the forest by the side of a stream where it felt it could peacefully deliver its baby. However, dark and ominous clouds had gathered in the sky, and it was quite apparent there's going to be a heavy downpour. And in the meantime, the deer spotted a hunter who is lifting up its bow to take aim at it. And on the other side, directly opposite, it heard the roar of a lion. Now, these are the natural enemies of the deer. And the side opposite the stream, the deer smelled smoke. A forest fire was advancing forward. So this poor deer, it needs to deliver its little baby, and it's surrounded by enemies on all sides over which it has no control. My God, what a situation of panic. So the deer decided the only thing that is in my hands is to do my work. It peacefully sat down, allowed the baby to emerge, and in the meantime, a miracle took place. There was lightning and thunder in the sky, because of which the hunter he lost his concentration and released the arrow off target. So the arrow missed the deer and went and killed the lion. And the fire had advanced pretty close, but the rain started pouring down from the heavens and it extinguished the fire. So the deer was safe. Likewise, when we are faced with so many uncertainties, rather than feel overwhelmed, it's always best to see what is in my hands. And truly, Shweta, the one thing that always remains in our hands is our own mind. No matter what the circumstances, the choice, what will I think, is, is available to us. So if we can just focus on living our best right now. So the one verse out here, Sri Krishna tells Arjun, Yogina karma kurvanti sangam tyaktvatma shuddhaye. He says, Arjun, a yogi is not necessarily one who can do Mayurasana or Chakrasana or Shivshasana. That's all very well. A true yogi is one who is able to do work, even though the work may be extremely complicated, like maybe even administering a kingdom like the kings of ancient days, and yet keep the mind in yoga, which means hold the mind in a harmonious, productive, and joyful state. So that is the yoga. When we can do it along with karma, it becomes karma yoga. That's a beautiful way to live our life. Alongside with karma, keep the mind in yoga.
Wow, I am speechless because such a beautiful thing you explained so well. Like, it's already imbibed. And even the miraculous story that you shared of the deer, it just shows that when we have faith and we just be there in the moment, how the universe works for us. So, thank you once again, Swamiji, for giving this intellectual bar to everyone who can, I'm just speechless. Like, I really don't know what to say.
Well, Shweta, you used a very powerful word. If you have faith that the universe is not our enemy, but it's our friend. If we are able to have that faith, then we leave so many things to the universe and focus on what's in our hands.
True. I came across this beautiful technique of Roop Dhyan meditation in your book. It was quite intriguing. Can you please elaborate on that?
Oh, yes. The principle behind Roop Dhyan is the subconscious mind. So we are all aware of the conscious portion of our mind. I am happy, I'm sad, I'm inspired, I'm dejected. These moods happen within our awareness. But what we don't realize is that there is a subconscious aspect of our mind of which we are not even aware. This consists of the innumerable images, feelings, experiences that we imbibed from the time we were born till today. That subconscious, you get an experience of it in the dream state. Because when we go to sleep, the conscious mind is now resting. And yet we see dreams, happy ones, sad ones, crazy ones, impossible ones, I'm flying in the air, etc. What is all this happening? The intellect is sleeping in that dream state, but the mind is just regurgitating the images within itself. But that subconscious is a very important aspect of our personality. Like, let us say that one girl got stuck in an elevator when she was 3 years old, all by herself. So, until the electricity came back for 15 minutes, she was there, the most harrowing experience of her little life. And finally, when she walked to her freedom after a few days, consciously she forgot about it. But that experience remained in the subconscious. And she has a fear called claustrophobia. Wherever she finds herself in an enclosed space, the mind freaks out. And she also
True.
can't figure out why it is responding like this. So that subconscious can be our best friend or our worst enemy. It doesn't use logic. It is the way we program it. And the way to program it is by using the gates of the conscious mind. So if I repeatedly tell myself, I am no good, I can never succeed, I'm always a failure, the subconscious says the boss has informed us that we can never succeed. Whenever there's an effort, the subconscious will sabotage it. You know what? We can never succeed. In this case, it is working as an enemy. On the other hand, if we use good, powerful self talk, we can program it as our friend. And Henry Ford, the creator of the motor car, he expressed it so well when he said, if you believe you can succeed, or if you believe you cannot, in either case, you are right. Because if the subconscious believes you can succeed, you will just keep crossing one obstacle after the other until success is accomplished. So, coming to this Roop Dhyan technique of meditation, which you asked about, this utilizes the power of visualization. As they say in English, that an image is worth 1,000 words. So our subconscious responds tremendously to images. If I tell you, okay, Shweta, remember your father, what is the first thing you'll do? You'll bring your father's image to your mind. That's the way we think. So in Roop Dhyan meditation, this technique, what we do is that we all wish to meditate. And when we sit down in meditation, the common experience is that the mind runs around. And some people say that Swamiji, such kinds of thoughts were coming which were not coming throughout the day. The problem is that we are just trying to keep the mind empty. Instead of that, plant a beautiful image in the mind. So, what's the most beautiful thing? Whichever form of the divine you worship, everybody worships different forms of the divine. Bring the image of that and hold it within. And you see, the subconscious will respond with love, with purity, with nobility. And slowly, we'll have a purified inner self.
Wow, it sounds easy, but I'm sure a lot of effort will go into practice because the moment one tries to visualize the subconscious mind, how it's been trained earlier and how we have to train now, it's going to be an effort, but an effort worth taking.
Yes, Shweta, I fully agree with your observation. It will be an effort, but it is far easier than other forms of meditation because it's tapping into our natural propensity to visualize, to connect with images.
What is the role of effort in each moment? Like, we can stay in the present, but how do we utilize it to the fullest?
Yes, like we discussed, the present moment is the moment in which life unfolds. So, the best way to take care of the future is to take care of the present moment. Now, surgeons, they realize because their work is so intricate that if they are focused on results, then their effort will get messed up. And that is why they need to release the results and just apply themselves to the efforts. So, what is the effort in the present moment? To apply yourself to what is in your hands. And what is in our hands? to put in the very best that we can. Now, that we are already doing, but what we are missing out on is the intention. So we put in the efforts and the intention gets missed out. There is that story about three masons who were working on a building. One was asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm working for 400 rupees a day." Second was asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm making this building." The third was asked, he said, "Can't you see what a beautiful monument it is? And I am blessed to have this opportunity." So they were all doing the same work, but the intention was different. Now, what we need to do is to focus on that intention. Why am I doing it? And then we can convert every work as an act of love, of an offering to the divine. And that way, when the intention is pure, the work becomes auspicious and it results in self growth as well.
I think I'm gonna do this every time now I work, and if there is a hurdle or I feel low, I'm gonna just calm down and think, what is the intention? Because, like this fable, it's so well said that if the intention is pure, the motivation just comes to work for it.
That's very right, Shweta. You see, uh, spirituality is all about intention. Now, consider the setting of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjun was a warrior before he got this knowledge. And after he received the knowledge, he was still a warrior. He was doing the same things. What was the transformation that took place? It was not in the circumstances, it was not in his profession, it was all in his intention. Earlier on, the intention was selfish. It is, I'm to fight this war for the sake of my glory and for becoming a king myself. And then Sri Krishna illumined him that no, Arjun, you do your work as an offering to the divine. This, this is necessary for the sake of establishment of righteousness. Just do your work with that pure intention. So here's a beautiful verse from the Gita. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajjuhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever austerities you perform, whatever you give away in charity, do it all from your center of love in an act of service.
Wow, thank you for quoting the verse. It just adds to the whole intention and understanding that we are trying to understand. Obviously, the ocean is vast. It's going to take a while for us to swim and learn. But thank you once again for getting us on this path. And since we were talking right now that Bhagavad Gita is the narration of Krishna ji while his teachings to Arjuna. This is actually back then. It's like I can't even say eons, decades. It's like a different universal time, but it is a teaching that has been going on since then, and it is something that works for everybody, every age, every adult, every individual, and at every time. It could be in your business, you can incorporate these teachings. It could be in your personal life, in your spiritual life. How is this book so magical, Swamiji?
Yes, Shweta, you have made a very wonderful observation on the Bhagavad Gita that this knowledge was delivered 5,000 years ago. That's 5 millennia ago. And yet it is relevant till today. People say Bhagavad Gita for leaders and Bhagavad Gita for managers and Bhagavad Gita for entrepreneurs. It just continues its magic. Well, the knowledge there, wisdom, is profound. So there's one kind of knowledge that strikes at the root of a problem. and provides us with the solution to it. It could be a mechanical problem, it could be a medical problem, and here is the wisdom that comes to solve it. And there is another kind of knowledge which strikes at the root of all problems, and that aims to eliminate the ignorance that is enveloping the soul itself. So that is the kind of knowledge which Sri Krishna is giving to Arjuna. However, the knowledge needs a setting for us to realize its practical significance. The setting here is the Battle of Mahabharata. It is such a war that is going to engulf the whole of India of that time, because there were two warring cousins who were so influential that all the kings would be obliged to align with one or the other camps. In that extremely stressful situation, Sri Krishna provides Arjuna approaches Sri Krishna with an ethical dilemma that he has. Not only does Sri Krishna resolve Arjuna's dilemma, but he uses it to illumine Arjuna about the whole absolute truth. He makes it a window through which he teaches Arjuna the truth about life. So the situation was specific, but the knowledge that was given is eternal. And that is why we realize that its magic just continues on and on and on.
It does. It's on and on and on. And right now, I'm definitely on and on with the commentary by you. So, Swamiji, my last question. The present is a present is a famous saying that is so wonderfully emphasized in the Bhagavad Gita as well. Can you kindly elaborate on how can we make it a part of our present life?
The Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
how can we make the Bhagavad Gita a part
The
of our
present
present?
is a present is a famous saying that is so wonderfully emphasized in the Bhagavad Gita as well. So, can you
Yes.
elaborate on how we can make it a part of it in our present lifestyle?
Oh, I see. Okay, so what you are saying is that the present is the biggest gift that we have.
Right.
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. See, we are so caught up in this rush of life that we forget to enjoy the biggest gift, which is the present moment. Now, 30, 40 years ago, when I was in college, in those days, if you wanted good information, you had to go to the college library. And then you had to request them for books, and somebody else had taken the book, etc. But today's youth has the knowledge of a million libraries available to them on their smartphone. So there is so much of information that is competing for our attention. We have got different forms of social media, and the consequence is that our mind goes into an overstimulated mode where we relish one tidbit and move on to the next and move on to the next. So that overstimulated mode of the mind and the brain becomes a disease where it is unable to relish the present moment. If we can just learn to relax that mental state, and then we will see the beauty of the present moment. When you breathe in, think about the trillions of molecules that are flowing in, which were released by the plants and trees from the seven oceans and the seven continents. And as we breathe, by the process of metabolic reactions, they are going to become a part of us. So that is the miracle that is unfolding now. When we are speaking, we could just relish this more. My God, how is this happening? Shweta is in one part of the country and Swamiji is in another part. What is this technology that is enabling this to happen? So there is so much of wonder all around us. It requires a little stilling of the mind and the development of that art of relishing. So when we start relishing, the present moment becomes a joy. And that is the best present, best gift we can give to ourselves.
Well, Swamiji, thank you for your lovely time and for this lovely question answer round that we've had. That's the best present I could get today morning. So, thank you so much. And there is so much to learn from you. So, looking forward to reading more of the Bhagavad Gita that you've written, the commentary by you, and also looking forward to many more such sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shweta. It has been a pleasure talking to you about these aspects of the Gita. It was a delightful conversation. Enjoyed it very much.